Here we go.
Welcome to Jake and Trev Review Everything.
I'm Trev.
And I'm Jake.
And you're joining us here in week 14 of Jake and Trev Review Everything
Week 14.
Live. Wow, we're just getting up there. Feel like an old man doing this show.
Oof. All right.
But here we are, week 14, located not in our usual venue. You're looking behind us, you're checking it out.
You gotta mix it up every once in a while.
Sure, we're mixing it up.
Mixing it up.
We're mixing it up. You're in our secret bunker in the DC wasteland.
Yep. Ow.
Ow.
All right.
Thank you for joining us here on this lovely Wednesday, a werewolf Wednesday, as per usual here at Jake and Trev Review Everything. Our usual shout-outs right away. Wolf Cop, I know you should.
Werewolf Wednesday.
It's Werewolf Wednesday, you guys.
If you're on Twitter, you gotta
give a shout out.
Wolf Cop. They're doing some good.
Give a little shout out to Werewolf Wednesdays.
Werewolf Wednesdays.
It's the reason that it's not Wine Wednesdays.
Yeah. Werewolf Wednesdays.
If you follow the show, you know what we're talking about. If you don't, you're confused, and that just means you should be watching the show more often.
And let me be frank. I swear to God, if Wolf Cop comes out and they're like, "Oh, we don't remember you guys," I'm
going to be like kind of betrayed. Like Wolf Cop, we were right there
every week,
right in the beginning with you. As soon as we heard, we were like Wolf Cop.
That other set of footprints, and then the other set of footprints. Mm-hmm. That was Jake and Trev carrying you on the beach.
Right.
So. So yeah, well, Werewolf Wednesday, Wolf Cop.
Thank you.
If you don't know what Wolf Cop is, it's
you should know by now.
Just Google it, YouTube it, whatever. Wolf Cop. It's awesome. It's awesome. All right. So diving right into the questions. Let's see.
Patrick Millison writes, "Do you know about the bird?"
Everybody knows the bird's word.
Right.
That's a given.
It's right there. It's in the Maxim.
They teach that shit in kindergarten.
Dude, it's in the Maxim. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows about the bird.
So yes, we do know about the bird, which is the word.
All right. Thanks, Patrick. Actually, he has a couple other questions. Apparently, there's video going around. What if episode 2 were good? I don't know. Like I feel like there is, and this was Pat's other question. He wanted to know. What would we do to change episode 2? I'm sure we'll get into that, but I feel like, and I don't think it's a true moratorium. I'm sure there's a lot of things they didn't cover, but Red Letter Media did like an entire. I'm sure we brought this up before. They did an entire series on episodes 1 through 3, and just slayed it. That's part of the reason that they're so popular now.
They killed it so hard with that.
They launched into the internetosphere with those reviews.
Scathing.
Just down, like, just brick by brick, tearing the series apart. And, yeah, they did a really good one. And apparently there's a new series. We actually just watched about the first 5 minutes of the episode 2 one. And it was pretty good so far. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the thing that they kind of bring to the table is that it's this dude, I don't know his name. We watched 5 minutes of video
from the group Belated Media. Belated Media is the group that does the video in question here.
But they start off by saying, like, these are the things that don't work, which Red Letter Media did a pretty smashing job of doing. And then they're like, well, here's how I would write it, which I actually enjoy a lot. And that's a fun fact. That's technically what our show was going to be before it was Jake and Trev Review Everything. It was going to be a show
behind the scenes for you now, right now.
It was a little Jake and Trev Review Everything trivia. We were actually going to do a show about taking scripts for movies and not only reviewing them, but changing the things that would have made the movie better. If it
offering kind of a rewrite, this little sort of soft punch up, just try to.
And we may do it in the future. We're gonna keep that in our back pocket,
right?
For that.
But no, it's a common complaint that Jake and I have both had that a lot of people who look at movies and video games often just can sit there and tell you everything that's wrong with it without really.
This is wrong and that's wrong, and I didn't very much like this part.
But you gotta be able to say what could be done differently that would have made it right.
Right.
So that's certainly a possibility for the future. If that seems like something you guys would be into, for us to take some time with,
if you
let us know.
Questions, comments, concerns.
If anything, we are reviewers of the people, so we want to entertain you. So if that's what's going to entertain you, let us know about that.
La reviewer revolution.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So what will we do to make episode 2 good? It's been to be completely honest, I remember a lot from 1, and I remember a lot from 3, but 2 was just kind of. I know there was some. I know Anakin freaked out and killed a bunch of Tusken Raiders, and they fought in an arena, and then they found some sort of cloning facility with crazy big aliens.
They were really tall. I wouldn't say they were big. They were tall.
They were big in height.
Well, they look like a stiff wind would knock them over. Right. So.
You could if you grabbed them by the ankles and swung them around, it'd be like one of those tubes. Like that.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. No, a big problem with episode 2, I guess, would be the real sense, or the lack of a sense of urgency, or the stakes weren't really addressed as being anything too high. They kept kind of reminding us that they were a bunch of isolated skirmishes, and it really hadn't escalated into full-fledged war. But there was, these stories about this Darth Tyrannus maybe out there somewhere, and
Yeah. I feel like the overall impression I got from episodes 1 through 3 when I first saw it were, maybe not 1, but 2 and 3. I felt like Lucas, being the primary screenwriter guy, just really wanted to tie everything into the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like somebody trying to tell you a story, but they need to fill you in on a lot of backstory before they can get to the good part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just and then this thing happened, and then this other thing happened, and there were some people there, and those people did this stuff, and I'm just really trying to get it out there as fast as I can, so that you are aware of the situation.
On paper, some of it made sense. They wanted to send Obi-Wan on kind of a mystery thing. He's going to go investigate this mystery, and that's kind of a neat direction. Seeing Obi-Wan as a young man by himself, following up on this mystery, sounds really great on paper. Executed really shittily. It wasn't a very interesting mystery. A lot of the things when you hold them up.
We're making clones. Oh, are you?
Well. There's a bounty hunter, an assassin who, for some reason, hires a secondary assassin to do the job.
Too, is that they didn't really bring in Jango Fett until the second movie.
Right.
There was no build up to the character. It was basically these clones are all based off of this bounty hunter guy, and it's you're supposed to know him because he's Boba Fett's dad. But even Boba Fett was kind of a mysterious character. I mean, not kind of.
He's all the suit.
It's all the suit. He's badass in a sweet suit, and that's how it's always been. I love Boba Fett, but make no mistake about it, he doesn't have character.
There's not an ounce of character in that suit.
Maybe in the extended universe, but we're not talking about the extended universe. I want to bring that up right now. Don't get it twisted.
So yeah, another common complaint people usually address is that we don't get to spend any time learning about Anakin and Obi-Wan's friendship. It's something that was brought up at Red Letter and in Belated from what we saw.
In both places, it was
it's something I've thought myself. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's they.
But that's George Lucas railing off the facts.
It needs to be punched up.
Right.
I need to get a sense of friendship or a sense of closeness between the characters.
They don't.
You can't just tell.
Yeah, you gotta show.
Hey guys, Jake and I are friends.
Yep.
We're buddies.
Yep.
Trust us.
Yeah.
Is that more effective or all the...
now we have a conflict. Let's bring up the fact that we're friends again.
Well, we are friends, Jake.
Yeah, but now we're having a conflict.
Whoa. No, see...
It doesn't...
J&TRE brought to you by George Lucas. No, that's not true. If it was brought to you by George Lucas, we'd get reverse shot of Jake and I saying those lines to each other. Real simple, basic shit. Okay.
Yeah, there were a fair amount of things that just didn't...
Let's go back up to some... have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I put this at the top. It's two things. We're going to do the one and then segue into the other. If you are familiar with the name, which you should be, because that's the thing we're talking about, is that so many people are, E.L. James.
Do you know what an E.L. James is?
Bro, do you even E.L. James?
I hope not.
Yeah.
No, E.L. James is the author of the now celebrated mommy porn. People call it mommy porn.
Really? That's really weird.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. And that strikes me as really weird.
I work at a place that does sell books, and I've heard it referred to that by customers.
Mommy, do you have any of that mommy porn? What? No, there's 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey and the other 50 Shades books.
Apparently, E.L. James, the author of those books, which technically started off as fan fiction because, again, going back to Red Letter Media, I don't want to ride on their coattails or anything, but there's a really good quote from them that's, jokes are real now. Mm-hmm. And now fan fiction writers are becoming... E.L. James has grossed the most money out of any author this year.
Top grossing author so far this year, E.L. James, with her mommy porn or his mommy porn. I don't know. I presume it's a lady. I'm just saying.
It could be a whole Cloak and Dagger thing.
Whoa!
It could be like two dudes.
A pen name?
Yeah.
Oh.
Two dudes that were like, oh, you gotta see this, it's ridiculous. And the other guy's like, I wrote some more into it. And then they just trade it back and forth, and they're like, nobody's gonna read this if they know it's by two guys. So let's just...
It's a lady book.
It's a lady book.
It's a lady book. But no, yeah, so E.L. James, top grossing author of this year. That's pretty good, right, you guys?
But then the thing that segues into it is because 50 Shades of Grey was originally a Twilight fanfiction.
Yes.
And Stephanie Meyer, totally over it. So over it.
Yeah, she...
Quote, so over it.
So over Twilight. She's over the sparkles, she's over the vampires, she's over all that.
She wants to move on, and that's never going to happen, sorry. You're pigeonholed forever. You made some...
But Jake, what about the host?
Cue host clip. We got
Did anybody watch the host?
Does anybody know how to queue up clips on a stream? Because that would be sweet if we could just be like...
Probably on a different service. Love you, Ustream.
Love you. Going back to this, Stuart says, call me anything you like, just don't call me Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
Nice.
Wasn't directed at you, Stu.
To all the Wesleys of the world, shut up.
It's what you must do. It's what you must do.
Alright, let's go back to the questions here. Hey Jake, Tony Corrigan writes, hey Jake, I don't like Trev. I hear he eats his own farts. Could you demonstrate a 5-point palm exploding heart technique? I only know the 4-point palm gassy indigestion technique. So I'm gonna do it now. How you feeling, Trev?
Oh, kind of bloated. Not too good.
See, I don't know if it works or not because Trev eats his own farts. So it's either the farts or the technique, but
could be either one.
It's probably
either
the
one.
Technique.
Oof. But the joke's on you. You are in the room with me.
Oh no!
Gassy attack. Follow-up question. On second thought, hey Trev, it's Jake I don't care much for. See? So that's actually you he doesn't care much for. Probably because he knows that you're the one who eats your own farts.
I'm going to give him the 4
Don't much. Could you show me an example of a Kansas City shuffle? Yes. Jake, do you see this mug? That's a Kansas City shuffle.
That's pretty good.
I got him to look at the wrong thing.
I like that. Why is it named after Kansas City? Are they doing that constantly on the street?
Well,
look at this thing!
Kansas City has a history of being kind of a lawless place. Back in the frontier era. On the border, the two Kansas cities on either side of the state line. It grew out from one thing.
I'm not good at geometry.
No, but I guess that would probably be it. There's a bunch of dudes there who are kind of shady. Which fringe events? Well, let's see. Yeah.
Fringe event.
Tone Man also writes in the live chat with us. Thanks for joining us, Tone Man.
Yeah.
Which fringe event would you like to see in real life? Ooh. Gosh, there were a lot of really great and really awful fringe events.
Really...
Probably the one I'd like to see the most is the one that led to the alternate Earth, like
where
like the gate. Walter made the gate, and there were a couple other methods by which they could do it. Even
it's kind of neat. I really liked. They put a lot of thought into the alternate world, where it's like these are the things that didn't develop. Like for instance, we talk about Fallout all the time, and that's one of the big things is that instead of coming up with the microchip, they had the transistor, right? Like that was their big like vacuum tubes and shit. Like they never came up with the microchip, so everything ran off of that energy. That's as far as they got. Which actually, according to Fallout 3, gave them a lot of, like ray guns and shit, which is awesome.
Right. And that led to one of the big cruxes of the series, that in Earth B, they didn't have the medical know-how to cure the disease that Peter from Earth B was sick with, so they'd come up with the cure after the fact, after Peter from Earth A had died, so Walter went from Earth A, went to Earth B to try to save his son on Earth B. Because he would have died without the breakthrough that they wouldn't have come up with because they didn't have the
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like there was a lot of neat world building stuff, like they still use Zeppelins over in Earth B, for example, and stuff like that. It was really cool. It was really cool.
And you really get a chance to not only explore how things would split off, but also aesthetic stuff like Zeppelins and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same with the. John dies at the end. I don't know if anybody's read the book or seen the movie. Both excellent. Both fucking awesome.
Movie's pretty good. I've seen that.
But one of the things closer to the end of the story, it's kind of spoilery. So if you're in the middle of reading John dies at the end or watching the movie or whatever, it's on Netflix now.
Turn the volume down for a second.
Just for a second. But
I'm gonna wave my hand around like this when we're done talking about it, so you can come back.
There we go. So here's the spoiler. They find out there's an alternate universe that has their technology is based organically. Like they grow like a supercomputer out of I think it was like a pig or something, or a cow or something like that. Like they use genetics to create the kinds of things that we do with like silicon, like microchips.
Right.
So yeah, that's another interesting thing. End of spoiler.
End spoiler.
But yeah, it's always interesting to see alternate dimensions in that way, where it's not just, oh, these guys are evil.
Right. Yeah, and it was reflecting on a lot of, I believe at one point, and this is a little spoilery for Fringe, but not really. It's kind of just like the actual information of it doesn't really affect anything, but in case you don't want to know this, again with the waving, okay.
What season was it?
I believe it was in season 2 or 3, where it was basically they figured out that coin flips go the other way in the other world too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So, like for example, in that world, there's the red arrow or the red lantern. Like Peter has has a red lantern thing on his wall, and apparently it's been suggested. I don't know how true this is, but that the decision to make him red or green and the original Green Lantern was decided by a coin flip, so it's one of the things that they changed.
That wasn't there. Yeah, there was an episode of Futurama. There was an episode of Futurama that dealt with that also. The coin flip.
See, the thing about Fringe
that was the whole.
I was pretty skeptical. I was pretty skeptical about Fringe right away, because it's like, isn't this the X-Files? Like, it's like an FBI specialist team who deals with crazy unexplained phenomenon. Like on paper you say that and it's like, that's the X-Files, dude. It's like, no, This is not the X-Files. They are working directly with a genuine mad scientist. This is a good show. Check it out.
So what's this? I'm reading it in my head and it sounds crazy.
Okay, so allegedly there's a website called Contact Music that's had a couple of different articles.
Music.
Yeah, they had articles that were up on a few sites I frequent today, and they seem kind of fantastical. And I was doing a little bit of back checking, and they don't seem to have a lot of sources. And so I'm wondering if it's like some up and coming site who is basically just publishing rumors and saying, "Whoa, check out this scoop we got."
Yeah.
But if that scoop is correct, allegedly, Legendary Pictures wants Christian Bale back. They want him back for the next series of Justice League movie or Batman, Superman. They want him back. $50 million! Come back, Mr. Bale. $50 million. Play the Batman again. What do you think, guys? Could you? Well, you would. I would.
We talked about this last week. The movie industry is going to implode at some point because they keep throwing money at everything and not figuring out that they're not making enough to return.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much? What did we say? Lone Ranger lost like $100 million.
$180 million.
They lost $180 million. You're gonna throw $50 million at Christian Bale and come back as Batman. I could see that. You know, the Superman Batman thing. I could see it making money, like major bank, but $50 million just to have him. Like he already said, like I'm not interested, and it wouldn't make any sense anyways. I'm not gonna get into that spoiler, but it wouldn't. It's dumb. So, ugh. And then what was the other one? Bryan Cranston.
Oh yeah. Now and also in the news of people kind of throwing their own hat. This is a phenomenon lately, guys. Like a lot
let
of
me play this thing.
Yeah, a lot of actors are starting to be more vocal. Like particularly with this new Star Wars trilogy that's in the works.
Oh god, everybody.
Where people's like, well, I wouldn't mind being in Star Wars.
Oh, here we go. All right, I'm throwing my hat in.
Whoa!
Trevor's not wearing a hat. I assume he's gonna.
Fuck no! Shit!
Yeah, well, he's missing the boat, I guess.
Oh no!
Jake, throwing his hat in the ring.
I can't be
Star Wars.
I can't be in Star Wars.
Well, if I'm in Star Wars, Trump has to be in Star Wars.
Yeah,
I'll bring you, buddy.
We could be
package deal.
We could be
all or nothing.
Oh, thanks, bud. No, we could.
You were gonna be in Star Wars without me.
No, I would never. No. Yeah, we could be like that, like a twofer, like the alien with the two heads that was announcing the pod race.
Oh yeah, with Greg Proops.
Greg Proops was one of them. I don't know who the other guy was.
Yeah, it was just like a serious guy named Greg Proops. Proops.
Proops.
I love his name. I love your name, Greg Proops.
Okay.
Proops.
But I think we got past the point. Okay, so the point of this, people throwing their hat in the ring.
I want to do this thing.
Bryan Cranston. If you don't know, Malcolm's dad. No, seriously, if you don't know, Walter White from Breaking Bad, the acclaimed Breaking Bad series. Bryan Cranston has thrown his hat in the ring. He says he wants to. He says they should give him a call. Lex Luthor in the new Superman, the next Superman movie. I'm in.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
These are my chips. These are my chips. I'm putting them all in on Bryan Cranston as Lex Luthor. He looks totally badass bald, and he is menacing, and he can flip the switch from being kind of fun and irreverent rather.
Irrelevant.
Whoops.
I'm gonna fly under the radar right now. I don't want anybody to know who I am.
He can flip the switch between being fun and irreverent to being scary and crazy.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the allure of Breaking Bad. I don't need to tell you guys that if you've seen it. He goes from, normal, regular science teacher guy and then pushed to the brink.
Tell him about Breaking Bad. I'm going to get some coffee.
Right. I'm out as well, so I'll hold down the fort here.
All right.
Everybody thank Trevor for getting me coffee. I'm not going to.
You get the next cup.
But yeah, I feel like Bryan Cranston really does. He could be a good Lex Luthor. I don't see him not being a good Lex Luthor, but I feel like maybe it's just because he's bald in Breaking Bad. I don't think anybody would. I mean, partially, I guess this isn't very fair because he is kind of a famous dude right now for the show. It's a big show, but he's primarily bald in the show, and I think being bald or looking good bald or looking recognizable bald is important to be Lex Luthor. I felt like when the last Lex Luthor in Superman Returns, or is it Superman Returns?
With Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey. Like I don't think he was really bald in anything else. Maybe in 7. Was he bald in 7?
I don't think so. Someone feel free to correct me on that, but I don't think Kevin Spacey was bald in 7.
I don't know. He might have been. You saw him for all 2 minutes. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen 7, it's too late. We're going to spoil it anyways because it's like forever old. If you haven't seen... Bro, do you even 7? God damn. Alright, let's take a look here. We'll get to your question in a second, Nicky Manny. Let's see. Cyrus McCarter says, it will never happen. I don't see Bale as that big of a Hollywood mark. Yeah, he's kind of does his own shit. Christian Bale has always just kind of done what he wanted to do. I mean, if you look at the the mechanic, the machinist. Yeah, he really threw himself into that role, even though it was kind of a small introduction. He's an actor first and foremost. I don't think that he's running around, hey, you want to give me some money? I'll do this. Let's see.
He's not a mercenary.
He did make a good point.
And let me pause for a second and say I'm officially throwing my hat into the ring now too. That's in the ring now.
All right, we both want to be in Star Wars. So if you have roles, for throwing us into Star Wars, we'll do it.
Sure.
We'll be Biggs and Wedge.
Oh man,
that would be awesome. Actually, no. Did they kick the bucket in 1 or 4?
I don't think so. I think that was a different one.
Oh, okay.
That
Biggs
was
and
like
Wedge.
Dak.
J&TRE.
Dark Storm Dagger or something.
Dark Storm Dagger. I'll be that guy because he's got a sweet name.
Sorry, not the Jane hat this week, guys. I got to show some love to the fedora, to the
detecting hat.
To the hat of detecting.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I would be surprised though if he did. I don't know if he'd be a good choice for Justice League. I don't think at this point I don't think that they're really pushing for Justice League. I think they figured out that if they do that, all the fanboys will know instantly that they're just trying to ride the coattails of Avengers. And I don't think Warner Brothers by itself has enough push to be able to make a Justice League movie. If you look at Disney picking up Marvel and pushing forward all these movies, there's like 10 movies up through 2015 for Marvel, isn't there? Some like 8 or 10.
Yeah,
like a crazy amount of Marvel movies. So that's the thing. Warner Brothers doesn't have that kind of mojo, so they can only really do a couple movies a year. And they did Green Lantern 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they've been doing the Batman pictures. They're doing Batman.
They got wet feet.
First.
They got wet feet now.
Yeah.
They got cold. They got their feet wet, and then they got cold feet because they brought out the Green Lantern, who is, arguably, if you exclude the big three of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, is probably one of the top tier, DC heroes.
Yeah.
So, but
Green Lantern, Flash.
It's one of the guys.
Martian Manhunter's getting a lot bigger, I think.
Yeah, that's the Justice League cartoon that did that.
It's the cartoon. I think not only that, but Smallville, because he was in Smallville for a fair amount of time as well.
Sure. No. So they got cold feet on it. They don't want to really be too risky about putting some other Justice Leaguers up on the big screen.
I feel like that ties into the blockbuster bust that's going to happen here.
Well, and I think we didn't talk about this till the end of the show last week or the after show.
Kevin Spacey had hair in 7, so he was not bald in that.
He was not bald in 7. Okay. So, but no, like The Flash, they're gearing up for a Flash TV series over at CW.
In 1993.
No, that's
they already did it.
That's on CBS in 1993. In 2013, in 2013, it's on the CW, and it's going to be kind of an outgrowth of the Arrow universe. Okay. And which is interesting because up to this point, we really haven't gotten any true superpowers in the Green Arrow universe.
Yeah, that's I haven't really seen it, but I know you got Slade Wilson.
Yeah, you a lot of.
He's kind of superpowered.
Well, interestingly enough, so far in the series, Slade Wilson's been an ally of the Green Arrow. That's right.
What?
Yeah, no, it's the facts. It's the facts, Jack. So the thing is, if they are, and this is a sure thing. This is moving forward. This Flash TV series.
Right.
So then the question is, are they really going to make a movie about the Flash? If there's already a Flash TV series, is it going to be the same Flash?
No.
He's going to get a TV series and then a movie? Is it going to be a different Flash? How are people going to cope with a TV Flash and a movie Flash being different Flashes?
Trev, we had the same you know what? Not us specifically, but I think the nerd community had the same discussion between Smallville and Superman Returns. Because Smallville was very popular when Superman Returns came out, and everybody was like, is Tom Welling going to play Superman in Superman Returns? Mm-hmm. And no, he didn't.
No.
And it didn't hurt Smallville, and it didn't hurt the movie. It would have been interesting, but they would have had to tie it into the show. I think there was a lot of discussion.
Well, Superman's a larger character than the Flash.
Right, but I don't think
you can't apply lessons you learn with Superman to Flash.
Well, you're creating a tangled web if you do that at that point.
Right.
Your movie properties and your TV properties are completely separate. There have been very few instances where there was a TV show that went on to be a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, that kind of segues into this. Nikki Manti asked, which is better, Firefly or Battlestar Galactica? She likes Firefly herself.
I also like Firefly, as evidenced by my possession of a Jane hat. I'm a brown coat. I would support, in every way that I possibly could, a return of the show. If not for the fact that Joss Whedon has basically said, give up the ghost, guys. It's not coming back. It's over. We had a good run. We even got a movie after the show was over. The movie ending is as good as it gets. And which is a bitter pill to swallow when, like, you know, a visionary creator like Joss Whedon basically just says give up.
Well, but it's true though. Think about, like, if you had created a series, like, I'm sure plenty of people want, like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer back too. But it's like, it's time passed.
Now, but
when did Firefly come out?
Like 2003, I think.
That was 10 fucking years ago.
Yeah. Oh, I know. But more to the point, you know, it's, again, I mean, it's not fair to compare Buffy to Firefly.
No, I'm not comparing the two in that. I'm comparing them in people wanting there to be another, like, to be a...
Okay, the people who want there to be more Buffy are just being greedy because there's, like, fucking 6 or 7 seasons of Buffy.
And they have the comic series that finished up the series after it got canceled.
Right, and there's only one season of Firefly that was cut short without even all the episodes being aired on television. And, you know, I think what this is really about is, God,
it's about Fox, because Fox is dicks.
Fox is dicks.
Fox is dicks. If you haven't learned that from all of the countless shows that you loved that got canceled because Fox thought they weren't doing good enough, then, you know, that's...
Let me ask you a question, Jake.
Okay.
What is a TV, or rather, what's like a comic book property or like a geek property you would say that, like, hasn't maybe been, you know, produced yet?
What?
Like as a TV show or a movie,
like a comic property that needs to be needs, like, I would think. Are you asking me what
Sure.
I would like to see?
Mm-hmm.
Heroes for Hire.
Okay,
That'd be cool.
Okay, Jake.
Or Dial for Hero.
So let's say that you're an actor in Hollywood, which he is. We're both actors, not in Hollywood.
We're not in Hollywood.
But
we're on the Hollywood of internet.
Mm-hmm.
We're on internet.
We're in the internet Hollywood.
Yeah.
Okay, so they contact you and they say they want to go with a fresh face.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go with someone who's, you know, young but, you know, not a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they need someone with a good sense of humor. And they think it's going to be you. It's you, Jake. They want you to play Iron Fist.
Oh.
Can you be Daniel, was it Dan Rand?
I'd have to work out for like a year and a half.
Well, sure. That's a given. Okay, so you work out for a year and a half, and then they offer you a second film. First movie is a big success. They offer you a second film. Mm-hmm. And then a third. Mm-hmm. And then a fourth. Mm-hmm. Now you've been Iron Fist in 4 movies. Mm-hmm. They want you to come back for 5. Do you say no?
Are you worried? How long has it been since the first movie?
I guess the real question is how legitimate is the fear do you feel of getting typecast as a certain character?
Are we talking about
typecasting?
We're talking about typecasting.
Right.
I thought. No, to be honest, I was preparing for it because I thought you were segueing into why Firefly could totally be like remade into a series.
No. I've given up. I've given up. It's never coming back, you guys. It's over.
It's over.
But I don't know. Like as Cyrus McCarter in the chat points out, Tom Welling apparently said no to being Superman and said he didn't want to get typecast. You know what? Fuck you, Tom. You got to be Superman. You got to be fucking Superman, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess I just sort of feel like, you know, I don't know, maybe it gets to a point and they're like they really can't get any other work because everybody is like, well, you're Batman or you're Commander Data or whatever, and I guess I could see something like that being kind of troublesome.
But you're asking me if I were Iron Fist, which would be awesome. After like 4 movies, I gotta be honest, if there have been 4 movies already, that probably means I made a lot of bank. And if it's been many years, I probably would have put that in the bank. and then would probably be able to support any of my future endeavors or living situation or whatever. I assume after like 10 fucking years, I probably have like a family and shit. So, like, that's, you know, I would. It would depend on where my headspace was at the time. It's like a 50-50 if I would continue or not. As far as being typecast, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're really into movies, and if you're into acting, if you're an actor or an actress and you're really into that, you're gonna find the things that you want to find to be in stuff. You're not gonna have, you know. I honestly don't think that after Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. is not going to be able to find work. He's also Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if everyone's forgotten that, but he's the key figure in 2 series.
Right.
There's no way that he's not going to be able to find another job. Look at Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is always going to be able to find work. Yeah, he's Jack Sparrow, but it doesn't matter because he's really into acting. He's the Mad Hatter. He's fucking...
100 characters, right?
Yeah, he's a million characters, and that's, you know, that's it. You know, everybody worries about being typecast, but it's like, well, if you have enough of a range and you have enough of a, you know, it might be partially a problem, but I think if you work hard enough, you can get past that.
Right.
Because if somebody's like, oh, well, you're Superman, then you probably don't even want to be in that movie in the first place. You know? There are plenty of people who'd be like, oh yeah, you were Superman, you did a really good job, people loved it, why don't you be in my movie as this not Superman character? I don't understand where that typecast, you know? I'm sure it happens, but you just have to get past it, you can't dwell on it. I mean, I don't know from experience. Maybe I'm mostly just talking out of my ass right now. I feel like there are plenty of situations where somebody did, if they are good actors or actresses, they don't have to worry about being typecast. If you're not good, then that could be the best thing that you could hope for is being typecast as a character because they have to bring you back. You know, like if I had no acting range whatsoever, which, you know, I'm not like super trained at acting or anything. You know, I can act a little bit.
Sure.
But, you know, if somebody was like, be Iron Fist like a million times, I'd be like, okay.
Right.
I'll do it like a million times.
Okay.
That's fine.
So we're about halfway through the show here, a little bit more than at this point. So we're going to talk about the person of the week. The person of the week this week is Anton Krasovsky. Anton Krasovsky is a television personality and host in Russia. For those of you who don't know, we've come out a couple times in support of a number of issues here on the show. Yeah. We're getting serious on you guys. It's serious time.
Get serious.
Serious time.
Let's get serious pants.
Over in Russia, they basically made it legal to discriminate against homosexuals.
Yeah.
And that's really disturbing.
The LGBT community in general in Russia.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. That's it's really kind of a setback. It's kind of sets it as a stark kind of contrast to the forward progress that's being made slowly but surely here in the United States. And it's a real shame. And Anton Krasovsky agrees that it's a real shame, partially because he, I'm sure a lot of people over there feel it's an awful shame and, disgraceful. But Anton Krasovsky came out on the air on his program and said to the Russian people who are watching, I'm no different than you are. Well, why would you try to treat me any differently? You know me as this man. Understand that I'm gay, so now why should that make you think any differently of me than you did before? And as a reward, he was fired from his job, which so he's paying the price. Hopefully the tide will turn here, and he'll be able to recover his career from this in some way or another. Yeah. Hopefully this symbolic stand that he's taken in his country will be followed suit by others, and we salute you, Anton Krasovsky, for standing up for the right thing and setting an example, hopefully, that will make some people in that country think about the course of events. Yeah.
Because if you I'm not going to get up on a soapbox or anything, but if you value human rights, basically, it's important to look at those issues here, wherever you live, probably America, But, the worldview is important too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has to do with everybody on the fucking planet. So, when it's like, well, it's Russia, they're crazy anyways, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it's important to everybody. It's not just Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's important that those things happen. And yeah, definitely.
So, Anton Kozowski, you are J&TRE Person of the Week. Hats off to you, sir. Hats off to you.
But, let's...
No, okay, now we're going to get less serious now. We're going to get less serious. Okay. Google Street Maps. Bro, do you even Google Street Maps? For those of you, surely most of you guys at least know what the deal is. But basically, there are a lot of Easter eggs on the Google Street Maps where you can go onto a given spot and take a look at things. Some people with apparently just either with knowledge that the car was going to be going by, set up a scene, or just happened to catch something. I've seen Vikings fighting in a field on the Google Street Maps before.
Awesome.
But here, let me see this. Now, if you go to London in Google Street Maps and you navigate around on Earl's Court Road, you will find a interesting thing. Uh-oh. I'm going to reload it here because now it's behaving badly. No, if you navigate around on Earl's Court Road, you will find a familiar-looking blue police box. And if you click on the arrows going to the police box,
awesome.
You can actually go and find out that the police box is, in fact, larger on the inside. It's the TARDIS. It's the TARDIS.
Holy shit, I didn't even know about this.
Yep, so...
I this is the first time I'm seeing it.
Yep.
Pleasantly surprised.
So you can kind of navigate around in there a little bit. I wonder how far you actually can. I'm about to try to go down some stairs in the TARDIS and see if it...
Yeah, hold on.
Holy shit, it's let me go down the stairs, Jake.
Hold on.
Holy Christmas. Alright guys, we are now navigating the TARDIS using
what is this?
Google Street Maps.
Is?
I don't know what that is.
I think they just...
It's a way off in that direction. Okay, everyone calm down. You can't go that far around in the TARDIS.
It's the main navigation.
It's the main room.
Well, let's get out of here. Get out of this police box.
We're getting out of the police box now. So yeah, go. Apparently, the full address. I'll speak slowly so you can try to write this down.
We'll write it in the chat.
We'll write it in the chat just for you guys. If you go there, yep. We'll write it in the chat. No, it's a real treat for Doctor Who fans, and I would love to have been the first person to find that. We're going, hey, it's a blue police box, like in the Doctor Who program. My stars and garters. They still say that over there, right? No, nobody except Dr. Henry McCoy says that. That's the Beast, for those of you who don't know. So yeah, that's another neat little Easter egg. If any of you have ever done any kind of looking around on there, seen some Easter eggs you wanna show us, let us know in the chat. We'll talk about it in the chat.
All right, let's go back to we actually have a question here. Let's see. I think it was Tone Man. He asked us. Oh, weird.
Down a little bit, maybe.
Was it? I feel like... No, maybe not. No, it must have got deleted or moved or something.
Well,
he asked us. Yeah, he asked us.
It was about John dies at the end, the book and film. Would you take the sauce?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm crazy enough to deal with it.
Well, what it boils down to is, if I'm being told with certainty that there are things that exist all around us that we can't normally perceive, and that there is some sort of struggle against these things, I don't know if I could resist the temptation to want to have my eyes open and be able to see those things.
Curiosity is the bane of mankind.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully I'd be strong enough to not die like most people who took the sauce in the film.
It just exploded.
Hopefully I've got the right stuff.
Yeah.
So
no, I would totally do it. Fuck it. I think let's address this really quick. Phyllis Peterson asks, here's a question for your show. One of the sci-fi pilots who didn't make the cut this fall was Gothia. Now, here's the problem. We looked up Gothia. Neither of us have heard or seen anything about this. The closest we got was Gotham, which was basically like a made-for-TV movie / pilot. It came out last year.
They got a magical New York.
But they didn't mention anything like this. She says the series was meant to follow mythological legends, Frankenstein, Dracula, etc. The pilot was described as looking shoddy and even described as it looks Canadian. What is your take on it?
Well, there's a lot of shows that look Canadian these days.
I've recently been watching a lot of Lost Girl, and that's very Canadian. A lot of people sound Canadian. The places look very Canadian. That's a good show. I actually enjoy it.
What does that mean?
Canadian, most places like Smallville was filmed in Canada. I believe, obviously Lost Girl was filmed in Canada. There are a lot of TV shows that you watch on a normal basis that are filmed in Canada that present themselves as not being Canadian.
This is a show set in New York. It's actually Toronto.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, that's not an uncommon thing to say, I suppose. It looks Canadian to me.
If you've seen plenty of television shows.
But if we've got it wrong, and that's not the show you're talking about, see if you can send us the link over the chat, maybe.
Gothia.
A link to something on the line we can learn and educate ourselves.
Or if you know anything about it.
Tell us more. Tell us more. Anybody else knows about this Gothia? Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad says, don't go into the temple. In the Google Maps, I assume that's what he's referencing. Inside the TARDIS, is there a temple inside the TARDIS? God, I feel so bad that I don't know more about Doctor Who.
Bro, do you even TARDIS? He doesn't, as a matter of fact.
I do kind of. I don't do that many reps.
Someday, we'll get you in there, Jake. You'll learn.
Let's see. The last thing we had written down to talk about, so get your questions ready. We got about 15 minutes left on the recorded portion. Obviously, we're going to hang out with you for a little bit. Call of Duty.
TV. Call of Duty television. Dogs. Realistic dogs. No,
this is a real Navy SEAL German shooter.
So no, today was a real slow news day, you guys. How could we tell? Well, they were asking a bunch of questions that had kind of obvious answers.
It's been really bad for news, guys. Like you may not notice it when we're on the show because we can talk about anything forever because we review everything. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's just like, what are we going to talk about? We don't even, we try to prepare some things to talk. Obviously, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Person of the week, all that. It's been really hard, the last 3 weeks, to dredge up something that's like, hey, here's a thing to talk about.
But yeah, there was one of the headlines, for example, was, why won't there be a Blade Runner sequel or was
Akira.
Akira. Why won't there be a Akira sequel? It's like, do you have to ask?
Do you really? Is that a question?
How are you going to continue that story exactly? And it's gonna.
Why don't they sell shoes in pairs of 3?
Right.
No one ever needed to ask this.
Why? Okay, but the real question that had to be asked apparently, but the obvious answer should have been. It was on IO9, yeah. IO9? And also Kotaku.
Yeah.
Why are there female player bodies in the new Call of Duty? Apparently, if you play the multiplayer in the new Call of Duty, you can play as either a male soldier or a female soldier, and they need to ask, why? I don't know. Maybe because women are in combat zones now.
Girls in my Call of Duty.
Really?
Is that?
I'm guessing somebody was like, well, why is there gonna be ladies in the Call of Duty? Guns for dudes, and we got the guns, and we're gonna, our guns are too heavy for female soldiers. There's no way that they can answer the Call of Duty. No.
And that's the thing. And I'm not belittling anybody who likes Call of Duty. I might occasionally. I'm not doing that now. If you like the game a lot, if that's but a lot of people that do play those kinds of games don't play much of anything else. Mm-hmm. At least in my experience, a lot of people that play games like Call of Duty and, Medal of Honor and all that stuff don't really, they get a system to do that and that's pretty much it. They don't get much farther than that, which isn't a problem really, but it leaves, at least in my mind, I feel like it leaves people in a different video game dimension than the rest of the video game players, because I played Call of Duty. I really like Rainbow Six. You know, I like tactical shooters every once in a while. I'm not really big into Call of Duty at all. But, you know, the people that are really big into Call of Duty, that's all they do. So they're in this bubble, you know, of video games. And they can call themselves a gamer, which they are because they're playing a video game, but it's a very specific video game. Which it's very hard, like, oh, you're a gamer, what do you play? Call of Duty. Anything else? Nope. So, you know, but yeah, they lose out on all of the advances in video games that we've had, you know. There's a... just, you know, I'm all over the place right now, but just kind of going into it, what was the series of videos we were watching on feminism in video games?
I forgot the name. It was about, it was an examination of the damsel in distress and related to tropes.
Well, it was a series, there was 3 videos. I think we only watched one of them. I'm sure we'll get around to 2 at some point.
But yeah.
But they were really interesting, videos about girls in video games. They were a little more scathing than I was comfortable with, because there were a lot of points where I wanted to defend male gamers. Because I don't think, like, what was being put forward. I felt very, like, dirty from watching it. I feel like it was the same when we got out of, what movie? With the girls and the...
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. I felt like a dirtbag when I got out of Sucker Punch, because all of the male characters in the movie were assholes. Like, even the one, like, the older guy was, like, the only cool dude, and then, like, everybody else in the movie was just a dickbag. And it was just like,
Yeah, there was one positive male character in the movie, and every other male character was, at best, banal. Like, it's like, maybe it's not right to be giving people lobotomies like this.
But I guess that's my job!
Ya-da-da-da-da-da. You know?
So, you know, after watching the first video about damsels in distress, I felt really dirty about it, but I also felt like defending, you know, video games in general as a dude. And, but that's the thing, you know, these are the kinds of things that we run into doing research and also, you know, being gamers in general. So the idea, like, girls in Call of Duty, what? It's like, how far behind are you in your Call of Duty bubble that it's like, girls can't play video games?
Right. You know, I mean, with the stage we are with games these days, there's really no need. If you have a multiplayer feature, there's no reason why you shouldn't have.
You should have female
different
skins.
Right, female models that you can. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and say it too. You should be able to change your skin tone in multiplayer setups like that.
Why not?
You know, it make your character look more like you than less like you, and it'll make you feel better, and it'll make you be able to immerse yourself more in it. So why not?
It's your avatar.
That's kind of the whole deal. So, with where we are, there should be more customization anyway, and I'm really surprised that being able to choose a male or female model in a game isn't basically a default feature at this point.
There was a good article I read maybe like a year ago about that kind of stuff. It was, they were talking like, it takes so much more work to make like a female character because they're shorter and they have, you know, curves and shit. And it was like, really? You can't get a character modeler to make one more character model? I feel like it's important for your fan base to make both sexes. Like, I don't think Fallout had a very hard time with that. It's so dumb. But girl avatars and video games. What are you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, get your shit together. Call of Duty, get your shit together. Okay, apparently they are, but, you know.
So Tone Man writes, they started DuckTales Remastered. Good so far. They added voice acting, so that's cool. Yeah, I've heard about this. I've been really thinking about picking it up myself.
Yeah, looks good. I don't know what, like, system it's on or whatever, so.
I imagine it's probably on, like, Xbox Live and similar services on other platforms. Probably in the arcade. Probably maybe Steam. Anyone want to clue us in? Where is the DuckTales available from officially?
I think it was on Live and Network, PlayStation Network.
PlayStation Network only? Probably.
No, I think it's on both. Photo, Ben, asks, what do you think of the current situation regarding the fact that Bruce Willis will not be in The Expendables 3? We actually talked about this last week, as a matter of fact. He wanted more money. Sylvester Stallone said he's a big baby. They split up. Apparently,
I'm noticing there's like getting to be a pileup of actors who say like people who worked with Bruce Willis, and it's like he's kind of a big baby.
Overbearing and a dickbag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel bad. I kind of like Bruce Willis, but if he's being a dickbag...
Jake, is it
true?
Stop
being a dickbag.
Hey, Jake, isn't that true? You almost met Bruce Willis once?
Yeah. I was on Melrose Ave in Hollywood, and went into a...
look at Cecil B. DeVille over here.
I went into a shop, and he was in there talking to somebody, so I didn't want to interrupt, but he's shorter than me.
Short guy.
Yeah.
They do a lot of trickery to make him look like a taller dude. Not true. Short little guy.
Yeah.
Little guy.
But yeah, DuckTales I'd like to see. Let's see. For Devil's Advocate, there are female assassins, but no female spec ops. But for Call of Money, nice and clever. It's okay. Let's see. Serious dramatic video games should have realistic portrayals of women. However, the game industry is male dominated, and video games are basically power fantasies. He's got a few more to pump out here. I don't know. I don't think it's... I think that's kind of unfair to say that female gamers have to be the ones that are making the changes. I think that it would be important to get a female perspective on a lot of female characters in video games. I don't think that... for instance, I don't think that a female writer wouldn't be able to write a male character. I don't think it has anything to do with writing necessarily. I think it's more like... people putting in their 2 cents and being like, this is,
Well, okay, this is kind of anecdotal, but I've seen this on Facebook a couple times and a few other places around the net. It's a picture of George R.R. Martin, and it's allegedly at a conference or like a question and answer thing. Somebody was asking him, Mr. Martin, you write women so well. How do you write like from the women so well in your books?
You're a man, obviously.
So how do you do that? And his response allegedly was, well, I try to write them as human beings. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. So I mean,
women as humans, what?
So there's really any gender should be able to write for any other gender. If you can't imagine what that would be like to be a thing that you're not, then you probably don't belong in the writing, industry.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of predicated upon having some kind of imagination. So if you don't have enough imagination to imagine what it would be like to be to try to experience something through a woman's perspective, or through a space marine's perspective, or through like a ghost's perspective, just use your head. So if you can't do that, then yeah. But on the other hand, I don't think that if I was a game creator and I was basically handed an IP, like saying or like said, hey, come up with a new IP. Okay, and I come up with an IP and I happen to make a male protagonist, and they're like, well, you got to come up with a female protagonist for it instead because we need to even things out. If it was a situation like that, I'd be kind of pissed. If it was a situation where I was being made to change the gender of my main character without it having some good compelling reasoning behind it, I'd be upset. But then we're just talking about a bunch of caveats, basically, where I wouldn't like it, I think
there should be a step process to creating something that is going to be in the mainstream and will influence people. You have to understand that that's a responsibility. Even if you're making, a game where a dude fires flaming dildos out of a dildo cannon, you still have to understand that you're culturally influencing what people are doing, especially if a lot of people are going to come in contact with it. So you have to sit back while you're writing it and think, all right, am I portraying this character properly for the story, for genders in general, for people in general? Am I basically leaning on stereotypes, or am I actually creating a compelling story with compelling characters?
Mm-hmm.
Just sit back for a second and be like, is this right?
Think it over.
Yeah.
Think it over.
All you gotta do is sit there for a little bit and think about it. If you're creative, yeah, you don't have to worry about that shit. Let's see. Apparently, DuckTales is on Steam. Let's see.
How much is it going for on Steam, you guys?
I'm gonna guess $15.23. I hope I am closest without going over.
$12.99. I'm gonna go $12.99.
I don't even remember the number I just said, but I know it was higher. So if it's over $12.99, I win. Wait. Did you say 15?
15,
20. I think I said 27. 15, 27.
15, 27. I'm gonna go 15, 28.
Oh, you dick. Oh,
classic dick move on The Price is Right. Go 1 cent higher than the other guy.
if I had the
You've trapped them! You've trapped them, you asshole!
If I wish that I had the patience to go through all of The Price is Right and just put together a clip show of the reactions of the people.
Because you're gonna cut away every once in a while like,
what? You asshole! Oh, you motherfucker! Tajik says Howard the Duck movie, but better updated than the last one. I don't know if that was in response to that. Oh, I would like to see a new Howard the Duck movie. Yes, absolutely. Howard the Duck was, for me, we're running out of time real quick. I want to say I would love to see a new Howard the Duck movie based on actual Howard the Duck and not just because he's an anthropomorphic duck that drives a taxi cab.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's more than that. The original comic books were about social commentary through the eyes of a duck. He's looking at everything like, I'm a duck, and everything you're doing is crazy. It's the same as any other kind of fictional piece where, it's the fish out of water, everybody's looking at it in a different way. So he's looking at everything and he's like, you guys are doing this and that and all this is stupid. It's through the eyes of a duck, though, which makes it entertaining. Let's see, $14.99. I was like 28 cents off, so...
But then I voted 1 cent over. Changed my price. Look at that. No, Jake,
Oh, I win. And you know what? I'm probably going to get something sweet like the Yodel guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or Pachinko. You're just going to have to sit there and wait for the next crazy people
if you get Pachinko,
sweaters to come down, and you're going to have to fight them, and they're going to go...
If you get Pachinko, I will kill you. I will slit your throat. Pachinko's for me! I love the Pachinko! I'm the one who loves Pachinko!
Oh, no, you want this. You want this because you have to be the closest without going over.
That's right. Don't try to steal my Plinko.
Whatever.
Motherfucker.
Now I gotta fight somebody with their name on my sweater. Alright. Howard the Duck is responsible for Pixar. Interesting. That's kind of weird. I will have to look into that. Maybe that'll be something we'll talk about next week. But for now, we're going to stop the recording. If you were not here for this episode of J&TRE,
if you're just watching this on YouTube,
you're missing out.
You're sitting here like, oh man, I want to ask questions. I got questions galore.
I want to be in their secret location.
You could be here with us every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. Be there next
Eastern
week.
Standard Time.
Come here next week. We'll pull up a chair for you. It'll get real nice and cozy. We'll talk about it all. We will talk about it all. Don't worry about it. Howard
the Duck or Cerberus, they're making a Bone movie. Is that close enough?
Bone?
They've been talking about that for a few
years.
Yeah. I don't know if
Cerberus the Aardvark. Come on. I see you, troll. I see you, troll. All right.
A game of Lucky Hit. Would you like to play Lucky Hit?
I wouldn't.
Everybody's just jamming these in last second.
How about a game of Lucky Hit?
I'm looking for the man who killed my father.
What do you know about the four who do?
There's a really good... just real quick, there's a really good Mega 64 Shenmue bit.
Oh, Shenmue. So delightful.
So good.
So delightful. All right, so that's it for J&TRE Review Everything Live. And thanks for joining us tonight, guys. We'll see you next week. And I'm Trev.